India is a country that is obsessed with party politics, with neighborhood gossip, with zaikadar khana, and with Bollywood. And the grander the thing, the more the maza. अगर मूवी ब्लॉकबस्टर ना हो, अगर उसे देखकर you don't find yourself singing songs from its album रात और दिन, तो फिर क्या मतलब? है ना? And for better or for worse, I think as an industry, we have somewhat figured out the ultimate, unbeatable formula for a 10 on 10 film that doesn't fail to pack the cinema halls in its very first week of release. Take a multi-starrer cast, put them into some world-bending action, add thoda ishq-wishq pyar-vyar, and garner all of this with some musical bangers. And there, you have a classic Bollywood blockbuster. Pathaan, Jawan, Sayyara. Well, Sayyara was more romance and less action, but you get the point. But for some strange reason, the Indian gaming industry has failed terribly at replicating the tried and tested formula to its AAA catalog. Worse, we are yet to discover your three Khans. But hey, the future is more promising than you think. Hi, I'm Milind, and you're watching Outlook Respawn. Now, AAA basically means a high-budget video game title that, when it comes to the story, design, gameplay, सब में एकदम top-notch हो. Basically a larger-than-life spectacle. Red Dead Redemption 2, Far Cry 3, 4, 5, 6, Uncharted 4, The Last of Us, and many more. Or to go back to the Bollywood analogy, Stree 2. Beyond than just the design and the looks, a AAA game also usually exceeds the budget of $100 million US and involves a large team working endlessly on its development across years. Until a couple of years ago, had you asked a random Indian, let alone a gaming nerd, to name an Indian AAA title, let's just say वो जवाब सोचते सोचते अपने बाल सफेद कर लेते. Because spoilers, there was nothing in the pipeline. Until Varun Maya's Aeos Games teased a mythology-based open-world RPG title that quite confidently promised to be the next big thing in the market. This was the time when the conversation on the Indian internet space was, can we make a game similar to Black Myth Wukong? Soon after, the Lightfury Studios also made it to the list by promising a AAA game of cricket set to be released soon in 2026, with not only some compelling design but also AI automation. And lastly, the Pune-based developer studio Tara Gaming Limited announced what they claimed India's first ever AAA game, the Age of Bhaarat, that not only excited the God of War and Assassin's Creed fanatics, but created a ripple effect in the market. Now, with a handful yet strong promises on the table, we must be sailing through, right? Or is it still a shot in the dark? India, being the global leader of the charts across industries like pharma, IT, and digital services, slacks a little too much when it comes to gaming. Well, don't get me wrong, as of 2024, India has a massive base of roughly 333 million online gamers when it comes to casual and recreational titles. That is excluding real money games. And this is only expected to spike to 391 million by this year end. But the catch is, 90 to 94% of this base are mobile gamers, which is a great thing for the future of mobile gaming in India, but not so much when it comes to the future of AAA games. See, the PC and gaming console scene in India only contributes to a small margin of the market. And even if that wasn't the case, you do need a high-end PC to play a AAA game. Unlike the smartphone market, जहाँ पे एक 10,000 का device भी give or take अच्छा game चला ही लेगा. With numbers like these, investors, even when there is a great idea on the table, hesitate a little before saying, bring it on, let's do it. Because अगर आपने तोड़ मरोड़ के एक शानदार AAA गेम बना भी लिया, तो उसे खेलेगा कौन? You do need a user base with bare minimum of a gaming setup that can support a game of the likes of Alan Wake 2. Sadly though, the problem goes beyond than just a 17-year-old kid not having a gaming PC in their room. Because for them to be playing an Indian AAA game, there must be an Indian AAA game. Because while we might be thinking of the scene as a sprint, it is more of a hurdle race. See, developing a AAA game calls for years of experimentation, reiteration, and endless attempts at putting out something that's never been done before. And to be able to do that, you must need something to get started with. You need backing. I know all of us keep talking about Black Myth Wukong as if it appeared out of the blue, but that is partly the case because developers at Game Science had enough and more experience before they chose to put their hands on Wukong. In fact, the 7 founding members were former Tencent employees. Having said that, with a game like the Age of Bhaarat, the studios is primarily trying to capitalize on Amish Tripathi's storytelling and Big B's credibility to power the game, which could work in the game's marketing favor, but doesn't say much about its quality. Which is why I think it is safe to say that while we do have a AAA future, it may not be top-notch from the get-go. But hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like a masiha to save the scene, we have had a good bunch of incubator programs in the recent years, which is basically an established studio calling the indie game developers and saying, तुम game बनाओ, हमें pitch करो, हम उसमें पैसा लगाएंगे and we'll launch it together. There's Krafton's India Game Incubator, there is Sony's The India Hero Project, जिसके चलते Underdog Studio received its funding for marketing and tech support to launch Mukti. And while that's not AAA, it does offer some hope. और incubator program में सिर्फ पैसा नहीं मिलता. Selected developers even receive strategic guidance from industry leaders in areas like technical support, art direction, production, and business aspects of the game development, which does sound like a win-win situation. But how does it all come together to give us the ultimate jigsaw picture? So, gaming accounted for 30% of the $12.5 billion US economy in the new media revenue space, which is video content, animation, VFX, वगैरह in just financial year 24. And this market is only expected to grow to an odd figure of $9.2 billion US by financial year 29. ऐसे में अगर इंडिया में धमाकेदार पैसा वसूल ब्लॉकबस्टर गेम बन जाए तो क्या कहने? Fingers crossed. See, the idea of an Indian AAA game industry which is self-sustainable might sound like a far-fetched dream, but we are slowly closing in on the race. And what's the one thing we've learned from Bollywood?
रेस कार नहीं, चलाने वाला जीतता है.
A little too dramatic, I know, but again, you get the point. So while we dream for a AAA title that is ours, I think to have a critical lens to look at the world wouldn't be so bad, as the developers pick our lores, stories, epics, and saga, blend it all together with top-notch design, gameplay, and put it all into a, sorry for saying it again, 10 on 10 blockbuster paisa vasool game, how we have been doing with our movies. Let me know what you think about it. Will we soon have a AAA title that gets the world talking and going gaga? Something like China's black myth Wukong, or हम आपस में ही गिल्ली डंडे खेलते रह जाएंगे? The comment section is all yours. I'm Milind and this is Outlook Respawn.